All right, welcome folks to Bible study today and current events. We're glad you're with us, and I do mean that. I'm so excited that we're actually streaming on 4 places on Facebook. At least I hope we are right now. And you're watching on the live stream on PastorButch.com perhaps, and there's a number on the screen. You can call and talk to us. Now we want you to feel like you're part of this group because you really are. And for all those that receive the DVDs in a month and watch this and thank us for sending them out, it's our pleasure and our honor to be able to be invited in your home. Believe me, it is. I don't think I will listen to me talk for an hour, but you seem like you want to, so I'm glad you're out there. We're going to start in current events, but I always start on the lighter side. I want to do it again today, if you don't mind. The Bible says a merry heart worketh good like a medicine, so let's start out with a little snicker. What do you say?
All right.
These are hope you'll fit anyway, but these are Catholic jokes, and they're not bad, but about an Irishman named Paddy. Paddy finds a parking place. This is what it's all about. Paddy was driving down the street in a sweat because he had an important meeting and couldn't find a parking place. Looking up to heaven, he said, "Lord, take pity on me. If you find me a parking place, I'll go to Mass every Sunday for the rest of my life and give up Irish whiskey." Miraculously, a parking place appeared. Paddy looked up again and said, "Never mind, Lord, I found one." Paddy was in York. He was patiently waiting for and watching a traffic cop on a busy street crossing. The cop stopped the flow of traffic and shouted, "Okay, pedestrians." Then he allowed the traffic to pass. He'd done this several times, and Paddy just still stood on the sidewalk. After the cop had shouted pedestrians for the 10th time, Paddy went over to him and said, "Is it not time yet to let the Catholics cross?"
No.
Gallagher opened the morning newspaper, was dumbfounded to read in the obituary column that he died. He quickly phoned his best friend Finney. "Did you see the paper?" asked Gallagher. "They say I died." "Yes, I saw it," replied Finney. "Where are you calling from?"
Oh.
Walking into the bar, Mike said to Charlie, the bartender, "Pour me a stiff one. Just had another fight with a little woman." "Oh, yeah," said Charlie. "And how did this one end?" "When it was over," Mike replied, "she came to me on her hands and knees." "Really?" said Charles. "Now that's a switch. What did she say?" "She said, 'Come out of there and come under the bed, you chicken.'" All right, folks, we have laughter with it. That's all there is to it, because laughter is really good for us, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
And I thank God for laughter. You know, people ask me this a lot. How do you stay up whenever you see what's going on? And folks, I'm going to tell you the difference is simply this: Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's easy. It doesn't mean life's easy. I didn't say that. But knowing He's in here, I go to bed at night, Steve, and I go to sleep. I don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow will be here when He's ready for it to be here. And whatever's the plan for that day for me, it's His will. So He's going to be there with me, right, Phil?
That's right.
So, yeah, I have a joy in my heart. The world can't take away. That doesn't mean that Pastor Butch Paul doesn't get mad or frustrated or all kinds of descriptions from time to time. I'm only a man. Even Christ went to the mountains and prayed to get away from the crowds and prayed in the garden, "Father, I don't want to do this." Because He was a man also. But if He had to ask for help, I find no shame in asking for help. None. So, but that's where the joy comes from. But we're told in the Bible different things, folks. And one thing it says in John 10:10, a verse you should memorize: "The thief cometh not, but to steal and to kill and to destroy." Now you can stop there and think, "Oh my gosh, that's terrible, that's awful. Oh my, I can't stand it. That's all I see around me." And that's really true. He's a God of this world, isn't He? Mm-hmm. Isn't that what Christ said? He's a prince of the power of the air. He runs the world system, folks. If you stop without half of that verse and think, "Oh, it's all over, what are we going to do?" Read the next part of the verse before you panic. And Christ said this after that: "I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly."
Mm-hmm.
So you see, that balances out the whole thing, doesn't it? Actually, it overbalances it to the point that Satan disappears in importance, and Christ said, "I come to give you life." Satan comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But he's not your God. I am. Don't be afraid. Is that not true for you?
In the world, but not of it.
I mean, we could tell you stories, and Steve was not privileged to be with us for a lot of years. We went hunting together, me and Phil and Dick did. I wish you could have been there. We had some good times. But we went through a lot of things together in the last several years, have we not? Phil's adopted brother from another mother, they say, right?
That's right.
And we went through we had a lot of good times. We're fighting the battle every day. I know Phil is, and Dick does, and I do. But we get together as a family and laugh and joke and have a great time together. And that's what we should do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Some people take R&R. We do R&H, rest and hunt.
There you go. Oh, we can tell you stories, but anyway, we'll get back into some other stuff.
It'll take up an hour.
Now, this is kind of humorous. I want to start with some good news to start off with. This happened in Scotland. A Scottish farmer frantically called cops to report a tiger in his cowshed, sparking an armed police standoff. 45 minutes later, they discovered it was a stuffed animal.
No.
Yeah, I've got a picture of it here.
Dolphin
They saw
pickups,
that and thought it was a real tiger.
Oh, gracious.
Now, you know you have a bad day when this couple in Houston pulled up to the vacation home, up into the property, and the whole house was missing. Somebody stole their house.
Oh, yeah, you
I'm
told me that.
serious. Look, this is on the news. John and Lonnie Harrison told up in his news. Someone stole their entire home off their property in Madisonville, Texas. They had 10-acre property where they went down and spent the weekends. A one-bedroom, one-bathroom with green roof and wood siding. He pulled up the driveway and all he saw was pipes sticking out of the ground and blocks sitting there. They stole the whole house. And that means you had a bad day, doesn't it? He called the sheriff and he said, "Sheriff, you're not going to believe this. Somebody stole my house." That ain't funny. It ain't
That's why we
funny.
want a house on wheels.
Well, this wasn't no wheels. I don't know. I mean, they had a flatbed truck to load it on.
And there's no
Helicopter?
ending to the story. They didn't catch
Oh, they
him.
hadn't caught him. Well, when I read the one, they hadn't caught him yet. When the story's given out, they hadn't got him yet. But I thought if you think you're having a bad day, I mean, you think it down the highway, obviously, but if you think you're having a bad day, go home and see your house missing.
Yeah.
And here's some more good news. Bermuda was the first jurisdiction to allow same-sex marriage. They're the first ones to outlaw it.
Who was it?
Bermuda.
Ah, buddy.
That's good news, isn't it? Bermuda's a nice place to live. I mean, they outlawed it. Can you imagine the kickback they're going to have on that? All the civil rights people.
Isn't there one African country that outlawed homosexuality?
Well, most of them are outlawed to begin with. They made it legal. They were the first one to make it legal in the world. Then the first one to take it back. They changed the law. So, anyway. And I'm sharing, like I said, good news at first. I am not pro-Trump. I'm not. But I have to say, compared to Hillary, I'm sure he's an angel. But he did something that I liked. He's the first president in 45 years to address an anti-abortion march. His first one in 45 years to go speak. Ronald Reagan, Trump's fellow Republican, made supportive remarks to the march in 1987, but Trump's the first one to go and speak to them.
Good.
The president is committed to protecting the life of the unborn, and he's excited to be part of the historic events, said Sarah Sanders, the White House press secretary. So he did do something. I'm just asking questions. I don't know all the ins and outs of this, but he can write executive orders, and he overrides the states all the time, does he not? The president does. Does the president do that all the time? Why couldn't he stop murdering babies? I'm just curious. I don't know.
Maybe without dispublicity, that's where he was there.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Some good news here too. The High Court, the Supreme Court of Mississippi, abolished religious freedom. Has not yet abolished religious freedom in Mississippi. The High Court on Monday refused to intervene in a legal fight over Mississippi Protecting Freedom of Conscience from Government Discrimination Act, which took place October 10, 2017. A decision leaves in place the decision by the 50th Circuit Court of Appeals that allowed the law to take effect. The law protects freedom of conscience concerning three primary issues. That sex is defined at birth as immutable.
Amen.
And marriage is the exclusive lifelong union of one man and one woman.
Amen.
How narrow-minded, huh? That people who believe in the biblical view of human sexuality, those who maintain those three primary beliefs, and will be protected against government and discrimination in the state of Mississippi.
Amen.
That's good.
That's a good one. There is some kickback coming back, Bill. There really is. There's some kickback coming back on that. Now, on the other side, though, to show this more quickly, a Christian bakery in Oregon was fined out of business for not making a cake for a lesbian couple. They had to pay $135,000 in fines, which effectively put them out of business. So that's a sad part. But there's another good one here, too, to kind of weigh that. This happened in California, of all places. Now, can you believe that?
Kind of made the
I've
cake
seen
feel
that,
chocolate
yeah.
thick like.
You're right. Do you remember though when you heard those saying when some place freezes over, this will happen? Remember that?
Yeah, we know.
Well, in California, it must froze over because Bakersfield, California, a Kern County judge on Monday night ruled in favor of the owner of Chase Street's Bakery. He said the state of California argued in court engaged in unlawful discrimination when she decided not to sell a custom wedding cake to a homosexual couple. A professing Christian, they said gay, I said homosexual. Professing Christian, Kathy Miller says she will sell homosexual people anything else in a bakery, but will not be made to celebrate a ceremony her faith finds objectionable. Miller and her attorneys equate designing a custom cake with speech and say California's compelling speech that she doesn't agree with violates her constitutional rights. Kern County Judge David Lampe published an opinion Monday night that said, in part, that the right to free speech under the First Amendment outweighs the state's interest in ensuring a freely accessible marketplace. So we won one there.
It's sad that Christians seem to do best when they're being persecuted. They have to, they don't move until persecution comes in.
That's very true. Well, it's happened in the Bible.
Yeah.
And God Himself sent persecution on the Christians, and so they're scattered throughout. They all will stay in Jerusalem. He persecuted them, so they were spread out and spread the gospel, didn't He? Mm-hmm. It's in the state of West Virginia. They've introduced a bill that will allow elective courses in Bible instruction in the schools. Mm-hmm. You can choose to take a Bible class if you wanted to. And people say, "Well, it might be a Catholic teaching it." Would you prefer a homosexual? Well, come on, people. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, West Virginia, and I'm not Republican. I'm independent. I'm a Constitution Party. But West Virginia, the last couple of years, since Republicans took over the state capitol, have done some good things.
The people wanted it, that's why.
Exactly. I mean, we now in this state can actually carry a gun without a permit for any kind of carry. They got a right to work law here finally. A lot of things started turning around a little bit for the better. Although we're no longer the poorest state in the country. We'll discuss in a minute. The poorest state in the nation today is California. I'm serious. I'll share it with you in a minute. We were number one to something, Phil. We blew it again. But anyway. Now, one more thing here. I'll get into some other things. Now, this I find interesting. How many of y'all have studied history enough to know that the Hebrews, that we call them Israelites, were in America long before it was ever discovered?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they finally, now this is a fact. This will make a lot of people mad, but I don't care. The Native Americans they found out by DNA were white. They were Hebrews. They were Hebrews. We are Hebrews. Manasseh, Ephraim, mostly Ephraim. But they found out the DNA occurred back to the last ice age in Alaska were white Europeans. Now, without making the blacks mad, probably, I don't mean to pick on blacks, I'm serious about, on the Olympics that just started a couple days ago, they had a coin toss, see who would carry the American flag. A black man or a white girl. The girl won, the black guy said it was rigged.
Coin toss?
Yeah.
I guess.
Did they check the coin?
Probably weighted wrong.
I mean, come on, people. Let's get over this stuff. And now the Me Too movement, where every woman in the world is calling and saying, "Well, he touched me 35 years ago." Now it's getting so bad that, and I think the men are being wise now. They will not work with a woman by themselves in office.
And remember when they were picking on the vice president? He said he wouldn't go out to dinner with any other woman except his wife. They were making fun of him.
I will not meet with a woman without somebody with me. I won't do it. I'm not. Maybe a fine Christian lady, but I'm not going to take that chance.
It's funny. It's funny how these women in the Me Too movement, they dress up like little hookers and stuff all the time, and then they expect you to respect them.
Yeah.
Well, I went into a lot of women's houses. Some of them decent women. There's a few of them I got hit on.
Oh, yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
I got out there quick as I could go. I got
It happened when I first started teaching.
Really?
Yeah.
She might report you, and that's been, what, 50 years ago now?
I worked in upstate
Thanks,
a
Butch.
few years ago. The woman kept hitting on me, in a big crowd of people. She came up behind me, patted me on the butt and squeezed it. I turned around and thanked her in the public. I said, thank you. You and I embarrassed her as bad. She never done no more after that.
Maybe you should sue her. The Wick magazine. An Illinois woman has gone into business selling tiny prosthetic, this is what it says, penises for trans boys as young as 5. You hear what I said? Trans boys. Sierra Deshuk, the mother of a gender non-conforming child, is marketing the silicone underwear inserts on a website that declares helping your kids live fully and embodied is our only goal. The penises are available in a range of skin shades from cashew to chocolate. That's America today.
Yeah.
She can go in business and make money at that. Now think about that.
Yeah, but a girl can't sell lemonade
Oh no, not without a license.
on the sidewalk.
Yep.
Oh, I had a guess along those lines. I know it's taking, I'm not going to, folks, I'll be doing this. We'll be back here next week, Lord willing, again, finishing this up. I'm going to try to get all these done today. I won't have time. But I had a guest the other night, got his name already. He works for the group called Don't Comply. In Dallas, Texas, it's against the law to feed the homeless or give them clothing or anything. It's against the law. And they've been trying to do that for years, and people get arrested trying to feed the homeless. So they put on their pistols, took up the AR-15s, AK-47s, went out on the street, fully armed, started feeding the homeless, giving them clothing and tents, and the cops drove by all day and didn't say a word. I wonder why.
I think they demanded respect.
I think so. They also went into Texas during the hurricane, Harvey. Went into one Bay City town, I can't remember the name of it, but the FBI and I can't remember who else there with them, was there starting to confiscate guns like they did in Mississippi. Remember that? They confiscated guns in Mississippi?
Oh, yeah.
They started it there. This group showed up and said, this is going to end right now. He said, if you take us down, we'll have 1,000 more here next week.
Mm-hmm.
And if you take that 1,000, we'll have 2,000 next week. And they all backed off and stopped. You never heard about it on the news, did you? Because they were there armed, protecting the citizens, they backed off.
That's called being your brother's keeper. Isn't
That's
it?
exactly right. Anyway, bad week for novel legal arguments when a court in Pennsylvania rejected a prison inmate's claim that a bag of marijuana found in his rectum did not in fact belong to him.
Wonder how that got there.
It was one of them alien implants.
Yes. Bad week for optics when Kathy Gilroy of Illinois, a prominent anti-gambling crusader, won $250,000 or $25,000 playing a sweepstakes game at a local cafe. Gilroy denied any hypocrisy, explaining that the win was God showing His grace on me for her noble fight against gambling. She goes out and gambles to win, and that, yeah, okay. Oh well.
It's all right to gamble as long as you win.
Exactly. An angry Wisconsin barber was arrested after he allegedly punished a fidgeting customer by clipping his ear with the scissors and shaving a bald strip down the middle of his head. The 22-year-old victim told police the hairstylist Ghalid Shabani gave him the humiliating haircut and left his ear bleeding after complaining that he was moving his head too much. The barber was charged with disorderly conduct. While it is not a crime to give someone a bad haircut, police said, you will get arrested for intentionally snipping their ear with scissors. Okay. Another The Week magazine. Good week for talking to your toilet. After developers at the CES 2018, the Consumer Electronics Expo, unveiled an internet-connected toilet that can be commanded to play music, responds to voice commands such as lift the seat and flush. That's what you say. And people love it, man. It's novelty and it's convenient. Now, will you wait and see? Now, one day soon, your toilet will analyze your stool.
All they're ready to do in England. for the king, the queen.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, they
That's
analyze.
Oh, Lord of the Stool, Lord of the Stool, yeah.
Yeah, they do. They
do
literally
that.
analyze.
Lord the stool.
Yeah, Lord of the Stool.
Bad week for the swift completion of their appointed rounds after a gang of aggressive wild turkeys kept mail carriers from reaching up to 30 Ohio homes for the past 3 weeks. Carriers are arming themselves with air horns and will try making deliveries at night. Turkeys chasing them up.
Yeah,
I got a Medicare baking in the oven.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that toilet, you can tell it flush.
Yeah.
I guess over in Britain, that nobility will be a royal flush.
Yeah, we'll do it.
That's a good hand, man. Yeah, folks, we have a good time here. You tell that. If you want to comment, please feel free to do so. Jordan, if you got better than that, go ahead and call.
But they do analyze the queen's stool every time she poops, if there's anything matter with them. The commode does it.
Bad week for Oregonians, many of whom are not happy about a new law that allows motorists to pump their own gas for the first time in state history. I refused to pump my own gas, one resident wrote on an online poll. I had to do it once while visiting my brother in California, and I almost died.
What state's that?
Oregon.
Because it's funny, New Jersey, they have that law in New Jersey. You can't pump your own gas.
Yeah.
The last time we went to the beach for the summer, we stopped at 2 gas stations and there were no attendants. And we just sat there until I finally did it myself. But they can't get attendants now. I don't know what's going on.
Who's supposed to pump your gas then? Be against law if you do it.
Well, if you pump it, you're in trouble. If you don't pump it, you run out of gas.
Oh, weird. Only in America, a Florida gun maker is urging customers to buy assault rifles to use against anti-fascist demonstrators. The ad features 4 heavily armed men facing down a mob of unarmed, black-clad protesters beneath the words "Not Today, Antifa," and lists the clashes between the anti-fascist group and the white supremacists. The marketing director at Spikes Tactical said the ad did not condone violence. We're just trying to start a discussion. I guess one way of doing it. Good week for legal tender when the news that Nevada's notorious Bunny Ranch brothel may soon accept Bitcoin. That's interesting. Owner Dennis Hoff said many of his clients are wealthy, so using anonymous cryptocurrency is a natural fit for people who have much to lose. When I went to Nevada back in the late 90s, we drove by the Mustang Ranch. And I always pictured a big building, like the old West days, It's a bunch of trailers that look like an old rock quarry. The whole state looks like an old rock quarry.
Yeah.
I'm serious. But anyway, I thought it'd be real fancy up. Just a bunch of trailers parked up in a big opening in a rock quarry. That was a Mustang Ranch. Anyway, good week for decluttering after 3 New Jersey brothers found a tiny dust-covered painting in the basement that turned out to be an early Rembrandt worth $1.1 million. As a kid, I thought, why did we have a painting like that in our dining room? 1.1 million, that's a pretty good deal. Mm-hmm. Detroit, dad deported a 39-year-old Michigan man who was brought illegally to the U.S. as a child 3 years ago, was deported to his native Mexico this week, with immigrant rights activists calling him a symbol of the Trump administration's unnecessarily cruel immigration policies. Now, I'll go on with that, but I'm going to stop to just say this. Is illegal still illegal?
It's illegal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's been here 30 years. Why didn't he make it legal while he had 30 years to do it? Why didn't he become a citizen? 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
He had plenty of time to do
It
it.
takes average of 5 years.
And they give you interpreters and all kind of things.
They do. And I'm sorry, folks, illegal means illegal. If you're going to have laws, enforce them. If you're not, then do away with the laws.
To the Democrats, it's undocumented.
Yeah, undocumented immigrants.
Yeah.
It's illegal aliens.
Undocumented.
A wise saying: when the debate is lost, slander becomes a tool of the loser.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't that the truth?
Yep.
Another The Week magazine. These things are full of good tidbits. That's why I get them. There's an article here about the battle over Dreamers and Trump's wall right there. I know I don't have all the answers for this, but again, back to the point I was making. If they're coming across illegally, they have no right to be here. They have no right to be here.
Yeah.
One guy was caught 44 times and deported 44 times. Now we pay for that, don't we?
Yep, that's our tax dollars.
We're paying for that. And the ones that come here that don't want to work and get on welfare, and they can get driver's license too, by the way, no problem. We got to fight to get them, but they get them, no problem. They can vote while they're illegal, but it's okay. California has made itself a refuge state, not just the cities, but the whole state's refuge state. So, only in America, a man who tried to rob a California Starbucks is suing the customer who stopped him for using excessive force. Ryan Flores was threatening the cashier with a knife and fake gun when customer Greg Jerry hit him with a chair. Flores then stabbed Jerry in the neck, but Jerry seized the knife and stabbed Flores repeatedly. The guy, in my opinion, went from a good Samaritan to a vigilante and said Flores' mother. Oh my. Good week for secularism when new research indicated that 0% of Icelandic people under the age of 25 believe the Bible's account of the Earth's creation. Icelandic belief in elves, meanwhile, remains stable about 50% in the most recent surveys. They don't believe in creation, they believe in elves. Why not? Villagers in rural India were thrilled when a mysterious blue rock fell from the sky, thinking it was an asteroid or a piece of a UFO. When the 26-pound lump of ice landed in the middle of Thalassapur Badi, residents chopped off samples of it, and local official Vedic Kula, but authorities determined that the ice was likely human waste that was discharged from a plastic plane toilet, and that its bluish color was caused by liquid disinfectants. Villagers who kept the ice inside their village refrigerators, so one resident, are now busy cleaning their houses. Oh, what a shocker. Another of the Week magazine. Only in America, a California woman is suing Walmart, claiming the store locks African American beauty products in cases, but leaves products for other races on the shelves. Essie Grundy, 43, says staff even had to unlock a case to let her buy a 48-cent comb and wouldn't let her touch the comb until she paid for it. In a statement, Walmart said that no retailer is immune to the challenge of crime. Good week for basic decency after an announcement by the Cleveland Indians that they will remove the grinning, bug-eyed caricature Chief Wahoo from the team uniforms in 2019.
Yeah.
So offensive.
My goodness. Good week for women after the word mansplaining was added to the Oxford English Dictionary. It describes the habit of some men to explain things needlessly, overbearingly, or condescendingly, especially to a woman, in a manner thought to reveal a patronizing or chauvinistic attitude. Almost no men believe they do this. Did you catch that?
You change people's thinking when you change the language.
That's very true.
Mm-hmm.
Good week for jury duty after extradited drug kingpin Joan El Chapo Guzman challenged the prosecution's motion to keep jurors in the upcoming New York City trial anonymous on the grounds that he had no plans to order any of them killed. Okay. Bad week for betting on yourself after Dr. Brenda Fitzgerald, the new director of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, had to resign when it was revealed she'd invested in tobacco and pharmaceutical company stock after taking the job in June. The CDC is supposed to discourage smoking and opioid use. You said the school retirement fund invested in tobacco, but they're against smoking, right?
They invested in Philip Morris and Coors Beer, and they were suing Philip Morris at the same time for, state money that they were paying for medical damage. But it's just like the ADA, American Dental Association, actually holds the patents for mercury fillings. And every dentist signs an agreement that if he says anything against mercury, he can lose his license. from the American Dental Association. Go figure.
Bad week for blockages after a flight from Oslo to Munich carrying 85 plumbers had to turn back because of a blocked toilet. The toilet repairs had to be done from the outside, one plumber said, and we didn't risk a plumber to work at 10,000 meters.
Oh, my.
You can hold it about whether it's going to.
Oh, gracious. Some more wits and wisdom. It ain't what they call you, it's what you answer to. I like that. Don't tell your problems to people. 80% don't care. The other 20% are glad you got them. Davos is where billionaires tell millionaires how the middle class feels. Makes good sense to me. Now, this is a magazine that Dad used to get for a long time. They sent me one. I didn't order it, but it's called Reminisce. I want to share something. This is all about...
Good little book.
Yeah, it is. This is about talking about some things in World War II. Now, World War II accomplished a lot of things. Got a lot of people killed, made a lot of people rich. After finding out that Pearl Harbor was known about and actually planned, people started realizing. But the real casualty of that war, folks, was the U.S. home.
Yeah.
The United States home. Now listen to this. From 1940 to 1945, the number of women with jobs climbed from 14 million to 19 million. After World War II, 75% of the women said they wanted to continue their jobs, but many were laid off. By 1950, 34% of women were working outside the home. By 2010, that number has climbed to 62%. What did it do to the home?
Split it.
Also helped spread of communism. too.
Oh, yes. We were talking about states and money situations. Illinois broke. It really is. They can't even pay their pensions. So this is what they plan to do. They're going to borrow $107 billion and put it in the stock market.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, seriously. And that's what their plan is. They're going to go in debt another $107 billion and invest it and hope to get it back. Would you call that gambling?
Let me tell you, Butch. The West Virginia Constitution used to say that the state could not invest our retirement money, the state's retirement money, in the stock market. So they actually had a constitutional amendment so that they could invest. West Virginia was the last state where it was legal, where it was finally legal to invest in the stock market. The year they invested in the stock market, they lost $500 million because it dropped. So, it wasn't a good deal. And it's the same thing there.
But see, the problem is the states lose money like that. Or the state of West Virginia had how many thousand extra cars they didn't know they had? Remember that last year? But the answer is real easy for the state. Raise taxes.
Yeah.
Don't worry about us going broke.
Yeah.
Won't get out of your pocket. Now, I often wonder, and I wrote a letter and told the governor this, and the head of the head man at the what's his name? He's the Speaker of the House and the head of he's in charge of that. I wrote him a letter and said, why don't you cut the salary to the governor? Well, why do y'all get $25,000, $30,000 a meet in 3 months? Why don't you cut that in half? Give some of that back to the state. I never got an answer. Neither one of them.
Well, we work for them.
But they make $30,000 for working 3 months. That's more than most people in the state make working all year.
Yep.
Isn't that true?
Yeah.
Well, look at our Supreme Court when they spend how many
$35,000 for a couch?
for a couch?
Yeah, for $32,000, whatever it was, yeah.
I mean, even a psychologist doesn't spend that much for a couch.
You all heard me mention before about the universal basic income. You heard that? Stockton, California is going to try it.
Yep.
Wage stagnation, rising housing prices, loss of middle-class jobs, the looming threat of automation. These are some of the problems facing Stockton and its residents, but the city's mayor, Michael Tubbs, says his city is far from unique. I think Stockton is absolutely ground zero for a lot of issues we are facing as a nation. Stockton is one of the many Bay Area cities on the fringe of the wealth accumulating in Silicon Valley and San Francisco. The Central Valley City went bankrupt in 2012, and for decades it has been trying to diversify its agricultural-based economy. I feel that as mayor, it's my responsibility to do all I could to begin figuring out a way that's the best to make sure that folks in the community have a real economic floor. Tubbs is coordinating an effort to test a new way to sustain residents. Universal Basic Income, or UBI, For 1 year, several dozen Stockton families will receive $500 a month, no strings attached. Dora Warren co-chairs the Economic Security Project, which is contributing $1 million to the initiative. He said the goal was to gather data on the economic and social impacts of giving people a basic income. Now, I got to ask a question. Who's going to pay for that? I see here this outfit, the Economic Security Project, is going to give $1 million. But is there any free money given out?
No. They're
Yeah,
taking
yeah.
from somebody.
Well, what they do in Stockton is they're going to feed the people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do that with my stock. I feed my cows.
There you go.
Then I butcher.
But a UBI, just for being alive. There's a lot of insanity. I know for a fact people who never worked a day in their life make more money than I do on Social Security.
Yeah.
And not only do they punish the people that are paying for it, those people that are taking it are going to go downhill. They're going to become, they're not going to have feel any self-worth whatsoever.
That's been proven.
When you feed rats and they don't have to do anything, even a rat society crumbles.
That's been proven. That's been proven. And then when you cut out their freebies, they get angry.
Mm-hmm.
That's when your riots start.
Exactly. But California is actually going broke, no doubt about it. And they're trying to figure out how they're going to pay all the retirements that the state workers have been gathering up for years. So Governor Brown, said he has a hunch that the courts would modify the so-called California rule, which holds that benefits promised to public employees can't be rolled back. The state Supreme Court is set to hear a case in which lower courts ruled that reductions to pensions are permissible if the payments remain reasonable for workers. Now I got a question. Who determines what's reasonable?
A rich lawyer.
Yeah, I mean, really think about that.
Yeah.
If you worked all your life and you got a retirement of $1,500 a month and it's too much, who determines what's reasonable for you?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious. Now, and I'm talking California because this is leading up to something else. Why is liberal California the poverty capital of America? You know what I said? Liberal California is not the poverty capital of America. They are now the number one poorest state in the nation, taking away our privilege of being the first. Guess which state has the highest poverty rate in the country? Not Mississippi, New Mexico, West Virginia, but California, where nearly 1 out of 5 residents is poor. That's according to the Census Bureau Supplemental Poverty Measure, which factors in the cost of housing, food, utilities, and clothing, and which includes non-cash government assistance as a form of income. So California is now the poorest state in the country. California, folks, had one time there was one of the richest states in the it was the third largest population in the world, actually, in the world. It's not a nation unto itself, but it just all went downhill. But now it's getting to the point, and this was even on ABC News, New California declares independence from the rest of the state.
I've seen that.
Yeah. With the reading of their own version of the Declaration of Independence, founders of the state of New California took the first steps to what they hope will eventually lead to statehood. To be clear, they don't want to leave the United States, just California. Well, it's been ungovernable for a long time. High taxes, education, you name it, and we're rated about 48 out of 50 from a business climate and standpoint in California, said founder Robert Paul Preston. The state of New California would incorporate most of the state's rural counties, leaving the urban coastal counties to the current state of California. This is for real. They're actually going to move to do this.
The same kind of movement's going on in New York, too.
Oh, yeah, they are. Yeah, there is. They're one another. What do you think about a nation when it starts dividing up among itself? What's the future of a nation like that?
There's a problem.
Used to be called United We Stand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Divided we fall. Yeah.
A couple in Florida broke the law. Imagine that. Didn't know they was doing it, though. This is in Holmes Beach, Florida. Lynn Tran and Richard Hazen have spent $150,000 building a beachfront treehouse, Anna Maria Island in Florida's west coast, in their own backyard. But it wasn't the cost of the treehouse, which was so expensive, it was the legal fees they spent trying to keep the city from tearing it down. After years of legal jostling, the couple has appealed their right to keep their treehouse all the way to the Supreme Court of the United States. However, Monday the state won. The Supreme Court claimed the case of the state, now listen to this, the Supreme Court claimed the case of the state forcing a property owner to tear down an expensive tree building on their own property was simply not worth their time. Did you hear what I said? You build a place on your own property, and the state says tear it down, and the Supreme Court said it's not worth their time to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
For free-thinking freedom lovers, the thought of the city telling property owners that they can't enhance their own property is an absurdity. Even more ludicrous is the notion property owners ever really own their property. The minute a family stops paying government-imposed property taxes, the city takes their property and sells it to someone else, all of which raises a question: do we really own property, or does the government just let us think we do?
Exactly.
We pay rent
Rent it
every
from
year.
them.
That's the key.
Pay the rent.
Feel that clock there in front of you is running, right?
Yeah, it's running, isn't it?
I guess so. It's going by too fast, though. So.
Sorry.
How many times over the years have you heard about sustainable cities?
Mm-hmm.
Agenda 21. How many times have you heard about that? Sustainable cities. Sustainable cities, human habitat.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The UN, for the first time this year, is making a decision on that, and they're going to do it. February 7th, this month, the head of the UN Human Settlements Program said on Wednesday just that a week-long conference on sustainable urban development that kicked off Wednesday in the Malaysian capital, Kuala Lumpur, will open a global conversation about our cities and human settlements. Now, please listen to this. Listen to what I said. Human settlements. What's that saying?
That's anything.
Yeah, I mean, what do you mean human settlements? Why can't we settle where we want to?
They're going to put you in locations.
That's exactly right. With its genuine openness and inclusive nature, the World Urban Forum is unique on the United Nations Conference Circuit, said, I'm not going to try to pronounce his name, but last name is Sheriff, Executive Director of UN Habitat, in remarks to the opening of the forum, and this runs through Saturday, it said. But anyway, recent debates and studies have indeed acknowledged that sustainable urbanization is an essential tool for addressing the global challenges of poverty, exclusion, conflict, and climate change. The new urban agenda comes as a critical moment when, for the first time in history, over half of the world's population is residing in cities, she said, which, if planned and managed well, can be the main tool for sustainable development and a solution to many of the challenges our planet is facing today.
Well, wait a minute, Butch. Isn't it UN telling the European countries how many immigrants they have to take in?
Yeah.
And it's destroying their cities. Women are getting raped, and there's crime, and people are getting killed.
Yep.
So are they making them sustainable?
Well, we've been talking about this for years, Phil, and now it's out in plain view. How long have we talked about that?
Long
A
time.
long time.
And here it is. Now, we talked about this stuff 20 years ago, and it took 20 years ago. And it's here now, but no, we didn't tell you a date. We just said it's coming. What we tell you is coming, and I'm saying this before God is His glory, we've been at least 90% right. Did you say at least 90% right?
Oh, yeah. We had maps of areas of North America, areas of the United States that could be inhabited, and areas where there was going to be no habitation. That was planned over 20 years ago. So we had the maps.
Yeah,
I got
that's
the
the
map-
map. We had the maps.
The map's still available, and I got one here somewhere. I'll show you if I can find it. Here it is. This is a fall copy of it.
Yeah, that's it.
This is a copy of the map, shows where people can live and can't live. All the red areas are no human trespass.
Correct.
Yellow areas, some. The green areas are where we can live.
I can't see the green.
There's very little of it, that's why. But anyway, that's a map of the United States plan for the future.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of this stuff that's coming out now is, it's nice it's coming out, but it's not new to us. It just verifies that the truth is out there if you want to see it.
Well, when you give man that's supposed to be your authorities and rulers over you, if you give them an inch in the wrong direction, they'll take it all. That's man's nature. Now, it may have been that the people that started with, for example, the welfare system under Roosevelt, maybe someone really wanted to help people. That's possible. But when you give it to them long enough, they find that they can vote themselves in the office more or less by giving people more, and they vote themselves pay raises. They take care of the people, and they get more and more. Pretty soon, they forget about doing it as being something to help someone. They want power and authority. And they end up owning the people. They end up running the people. Because you're not going to bite the hand that feeds you. Yes.
Well, when you think about
Go ahead.
it, yeah, the definition of charity is you giving something of yours to somebody else out of goodness. How can the government have charity? Because they have nothing to give.
That's
They
true.
take and then redistribute wealth, and they call it charity. It's not charity.
No. They call it entitlements.
Entitlement.
Yeah.
George Washington said, I feared the politician going to turn the politics to their wallet.
That's exactly right.
And he
That-
did.
That's another reason why they want to bring that back, the entitlements.
Sure.
I mean, yeah, letting each congressional district spend money on a pet project.
Yep. And
Not-
an Amish community in Warren County, Ohio, went to court to fight this new
Earmarks.
dictate. They had to put power in the house. They didn't want electricity. The Amish now have to put electricity in their house.
They have to.
Yes.
Yeah,
The government revokes off-grid Amish communities' religious rights, forcing the use of electricity.
That's kind of funny because I think the Amish is, as far as being sustainable, they're about as sustainable as you can get.
Well, that's why they want to come under their thumb, obviously. Years ago, Marcia and I were driving up through Ohio, through the Amish community, and I wish I would have had a camera in my hand back then like I do now all the time. We was going by an old church, old schoolhouse or church. It's fallen down, actually, but there's an outhouse there out on the property. There's a horse and buggy standing there, and the rains were going inside the door of the toilet.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, somebody's holding his horse when they go in the bathroom. I'm serious.
Let me say this. You remember when I was fighting the ID cards, students wearing them in school, and then it became a national issue because they fired me and had to go to court. But I got calls from the Amish in Pennsylvania and I think Kentucky, different places. And they were asking me, they said, we have a policy, we don't want to go against the government, but they want to take our pictures and we don't want to give them our pictures, you know what I mean? Because it was all about biometrics and the mark of the beast and the whole thing, And they said, here's what I told them. I said, the government ain't going to let you alone.
No, they're not.
I said, you might as well start fighting them because they're not going to let you alone. And so look what they're doing to the Amish now, telling them they got to have electricity.
Yep.
They want to rule them cradle to grave just like they want to rule everybody else.
Well, 3 or 4 years ago, Marshall up in Ohio, the Amish country, and I got to talk to some of them. They're everywhere. Got to speak to them. One couple invited us to their home, which is rare for them to do, I found out. But we didn't get to go. But I would like to go up there sometime visit them. But when you go down the side roads, they have their own schools. They have their own schools.
Yes.
And the boys and girls are walking down the street like they dressed 80 years ago. I mean, the boys don't have any shoes on, they're barefoot, but wearing hats out there in the field playing volleyball and stuff, just like children used to.
Yeah.
And they're carrying lunch pails in their hands, going to school. And I thought, what's wrong with this picture? What's wrong with this? Yeah, you see horses going down the road all the time, buggies and everything. It makes you kind of nervous, but it's still, what's wrong with this picture? It's how they choose to live.
You don't see children outside anymore.
No, you don't.
You don't.
no.
But then they don't have TVs and electricity in the house. Then what are they going to do in the house, right? Me and Dick play outside. It got dark, didn't we, Dick?
Yeah,
You used to
me
play
and
ball,
Dick.
couldn't even see the ball. I remember doing that, But
Well, man bluff or something after dark.
we just that's what you did. But I do know that going up there and seeing this and getting to talk to these people, I respect what they're trying to do. Although the buggies did have one that had a dashboard in it, had lights around it. That's kind of light them up now. And I said, how do you run these lights? I mean, you got running lights and you got tail lights and things. He said, yeah, we have to do that to be compliant. But a whole dashboard like a car had all different switches on it, turn lights on and everything. But anyway, tyrannical law will throw waiters in jail who offer customers unsolicited plastic straws. Unbelievable. In the land of the free, waiters and waitresses who offer the customers an unsolicited straw could soon be facing up to 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine. Seriously. Thanks to the state of California, when you know it, who has outlawed everything from plastic bags to bathhouses, lawmakers have proposed a bill to cut down pollution by using cops to punish the service industry for senselessly providing customers with a straw without the customer demanding one.
Unbelievable.
How far down would it go? How long? How how much more can it control?
Breathing.
Yeah.
Now here's this, folks. This is not satire. This is for real. Is your sandwich bad for the environment? I'm serious. You take a packed lunch to work or buy a sandwich from the shop, the carbon footprint of your sandwich could be having a major impact on greenhouse gas emissions, according to new research. Researchers at the University of Manchester have carried out the first ever study looking at the carbon footprint of sandwiches, both homemade and prepackaged. They considered the whole life cycle of sandwiches, including the production of ingredients, sandwiches and their packaging, as well as food waste discarded at home and elsewhere in the supply chain. Do you know that you're contributing to global warming every time you eat a sandwich?
Well, you got to figure, if you eat beans, give you gas, boiled cabbage gives you gas, won't you outlaw them two foods so you won't destroy the ozone?
Yeah. Why you gonna
Unless you put your sandwich on a leash, how's it going to leave a carbon footprint? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, they don't have no feet.
But this is how absurd it's getting. And that same scripture comes back to mind all the time. Deuteronomy 28:28. I'll smite them with madness. Mm-hmm. Is that insane?
Totally. Completely.
Nissan's coming out with a new car. A lot of companies now are coming out with driverless cars. You know that.
Yeah.
Nissan comes out with a car that will read your mind. Yeah, I want to do it for a woman too. But anyway, software adapted from the medical profession is translating the driver's thoughts into action to improve vehicle responsiveness. The technology will be unveiled at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas next week. This has been a couple weeks ago. Now, folks, listen. This is not science fiction. They're unveiling it. Okay. The software monitors brain wave activity to anticipate intended movement, be that turning the steering wheel or hitting the brakes. Nissan says the system can react between 0.02 to 0.05 seconds faster than the driver without being considered intrusive.
I don't know, Butch. I mean, I've had so much trouble with my ABS, automatic braking system. Yeah. After so long, it doesn't work right. So what happens when these cars just decide, that they don't work right?
Well, I'm just thinking that people
Pull the fuse out.
there you go.
Without it.
People here don't know what I'm talking about. Olivia is one of Phil's daughters. She's a sweet young lady. But I was going to tell Phil, don't get her one of these because her mind works so many different directions. They'll tell her nowhere to go.
Well, that's women. That's just a woman.
That's just a woman. Big old circles.
It's a very, very complicated maze to go through to figure out what it is.
Yeah, there you go.
But anyway, you tell Olivia I talked about it.
Oh,
Congress quietly pushing bill to require a national biometric ID for all Americans.
yeah.
This is the Republican Congress now, mind you. The security members of both parties in the U.S. House one more time. The security members of both parties in the U.S. House doesn't target any U.S. border. Instead, it means to create an all-out police state within them. Now, think about that. Everyone will have to have this. As a matter of fact, it's almost there already. Mm-hmm. It makes it mandatory. Now, to show where this is leading to, we're down the last 5 minutes already. MasterCard, now listen to me, I'm telling you this, now listen very carefully. 20 years ago, 15 years ago at least, we told you that biometrics were leading to the mark of the beast system. Did we not say that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
For 12 years I drove without a driver's license. Phil and Dick probably 10 or 11 too. Now this, folks, we told you this. Not because we're geniuses, not because we're overly intelligent by any means, but stop and think about it. Your biometrics is your unique number that belongs to you. That's unique, is it not? Mm-hmm. Your face is unique. Your retinal scans are unique.
Yeah.
These all belong to one individual, don't they?
And God-given, too.
And God-given. He gave you your uniqueness. So when you give that to the beast system, what would they do with it?
Use it for their purpose.
Control you. MasterCard pushes biometrics. Banks follow. MasterCard has set a deadline. Pay attention. For widespread use of biometric ID for services across the whole of the EU. Now, it's not here, but how far is that away when it gets to the EU? April 2019. About a year away. MasterCard ID Check, currently available in 37 countries, enables individuals to use biometric IDs such as fingerprint, facial, and iris recognition to verify their IDs when using a mobile device for online shopping and banking. The technology is not mandatory for customers yet, but next year it will be vigorously promoted throughout the EU and many consumers will welcome it. Now let that sink in. They're going to welcome it. Today, you can do checking on your phone.
Yeah, your face.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
And I can pay you my phone to your phone.
Yeah.
And it's so convenient, Phil Hudock. It's so easy. They had a chipping party. You saw it on the screen one day. They were chipping people. They go up to the vending machine and get paid for something out of the vending machine and just scan their hand.
Open the door with your hand.
So it's so convenient. Now, 50 years ago, people would have been repulsed by this, wouldn't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
The impact will be felt not just by consumers, but also by most European banks, since any bank that issues or accepts MasterCard payments will have to support ID mechanisms for remote transactions alongside existing PIN and password verification. The deadline will also apply to all contactless transactions made at terminals with a mobile device. Now, what's that telling you?
Yep. And the inventor of MasterCard said that when he invented it, he had a vision of a cashless society.
And your biometrics will be your key to buying and selling. Could that be right nigh the mark of the beast? Is it a number of a man?
Yeah.
Phone number.
It's numbers. Identify.
Some years ago we talked about this, and now it's here. We're going to run out of time, folks. We'll finish up next week. We don't want to go rush through this. That's too important. We talked about police wearing glasses that'll scan your face. You all remember talking about that?
Yeah.
Chinese police add facial recognition glasses to surveillance arsenal. Here's a picture of a policewoman wearing the glasses. As hundreds of millions of Chinese begin traveling for the Lunar New Year holiday, police are showing off a new addition to their crowd surveillance by toolbox: mobile facial recognition units mounted on eyeglasses. China is already a global leader in deploying cutting-edge surveillance technologies based on artificial intelligence. The mobile devices could expand the reach of that surveillance, allowing authorities to peer into places that fixed cameras aren't scanning and to respond more quickly. Now, this is really happening.
Yeah.
Your face, once you get your driver's license, is locked into Interpol, an international database. If you go to China, they'll know who you are when they look at you. How scary is that? I have nothing to hide, but why should I have to? Think about this. Already you can buy glasses today with a computer screen on your glasses. Mm-hmm. You know that, right? Mm-hmm. Think about how far we've advanced in the last 20 years, Phil.
Freight train.
Amazing. Folks, we're finally out of time for today's current events. We're going to come back in a little bit and do a Bible study, about half an hour. And then we'll be back next week in Louisville on Saturday, weather permitting, to finish these up and do some more.
Hearts courageous after you. We're marching on with hearts courageous. We'll follow anywhere you want us to. And should you lead us where the battle rages, let us march with hearts courageous. greatest